And our guest tonight, not our first guest, our only guest tonight, has a very heartwarming, inspirational story for us. Her name is Samantha Gasbarro. And as I mentioned, I've known her for a number of years, known her since she was a little tot in the bowling alley. And she has an unbelievable story to tell. She's running in the New York Marathon coming up in November. She's going to run the Boston Marathon in April. She had run several marathons, and we're going to have her tell the story of why she is doing this. Samantha, thank you so much for joining us and for your patience. I appreciate it.
Yes. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yes, I appreciate it. So much. You have a really interesting, inspirational, heartwarming, heartbreaking type story that I just didn't feel I could do justice in a bio. So if you wouldn't mind if starting and telling us, why are you running these marathons?
Sure. So I'm running for Boston Children's Hospital, and our connection with the hospital actually started with my first pregnancy. We had to go in for a fetal echo. Met the whole cardiology department there, and his scan was good. We, kind of thought that was going to be the end of our story with Boston Children's Hospital, and it ended up just kind of foreshadowing the future for us. In our second pregnancy, we found out at 12 weeks that my daughter had tested positive for 22q11 deletion syndrome, also known as DeGeorge syndrome. And at that time, our doctor said this isn't a very good test for DeGeorge syndrome, but later on in the pregnancy, we're going to send you to Children's just to check everything out, make sure everything's fine. So we went back to Children's for another fetal echo. Said hi to all the doctors we had met previously, and the cardiologist did her scan, and everything actually looked great. And at that time, the doctor asked me if I would be comfortable with a student coming in to practice, which I agreed to because that opportunity doesn't come often. And so I was just kind of hanging out while the student scanned. And there was a moment where she paused and then looked at me and said, "I'm going to go get the cardiologist." And that was a red flag for me. I said, it's never good when the cardiologist comes back to the room, as sweet as he is. And he came in and he looked at her imaging. And that's when he told us that they had seen a congenital heart defect called tetralogy of Fallot, which can be linked to the 22q deletion syndrome. So we knew at that point, we were about 18 weeks, that she definitely has this syndrome, and now she definitely has this congenital heart defect, and kind of planned our care from there. We knew once she was here, it would kind of depend on how she presented, on whether she went immediately to the OR or if we were going to be given some time to feed and grow prior to surgery. So when she was born, she actually was doing really well. She spent 8 days in the NICU, was feeding well. Unfortunately, when she came home, that kind of all changed. So she started turning blue when she would eat. She was losing weight. Her hair was falling out. I just remember her eyes being really sunken in. And she was hospitalized 3 separate times for failure to thrive. And she was just about 2 months old at that point, during her third hospitalization. And, I looked at the advocate and I looked at her cardiology team and I said, "I'm not leaving here without surgery date because she's not growing." The hope was she would get bigger, and she's not. She's losing weight. She's very sick. And they agreed. They went and met, and that same day they came back with a surgery date, which was 2 weeks from that hospitalization. And so she was just 2 months at that point. We came back for surgery, which went well. We knew without surgery, death was certain. So, surgery was hopeful. That was, what we hung on to. But there's no way to explain the feeling of handing your little baby over to the surgical team. And the nurse was so sweet. She swaddled her cradle and carried her the whole way. So I knew she was in good hands. But they weren't my hands. And so that was
Right.
something that I really struggled with. And so I just kind of hung on to the hope, because tetralogy of Fallot wasn't always able to be surgically repaired in infants. I think it was in the 1980s that they actually did it successfully. So, I was like, we're given this chance. We have this hope. We have to kind of hold on to that until she is back in my arms, because you don't know if she's coming back. And that's really, really scary. So we just held on to the hope that, this was going to provide a better life for her. This was her second chance. And that is kind of what willed my arms to let go of her. Otherwise, I think I would have been in the OR with her.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't imagine.
As a mom, let go.
yeah. I mean, that took a great deal of strength to put your child's life in the hands of someone else, but you knew you had to. But that
Yeah.
really, that was a lot for you to have to deal with.
Yeah. And they did a really good job of, educating us prior to like what to expect, how long the surgery was going to be, what types of like procedures they're going to do. Things may change in the moment, even like things that could potentially go wrong. They kind of walked us through ahead of time so there weren't too many surprises. But I do remember right before they took her back, they kind of chatted with us one more time. And that was the first time they said out loud, like, we're going to stop her heart and then perform the surgery. And I just hadn't thought of that. It makes sense. They're operating on her heart, which at that point was the size of a walnut. But it was still, to hear those words was like a punch to the stomach. I was like,
Oh yeah.
my goodness. And then during the surgery, they call you to let you know that they successfully stopped her heart and have transferred her to the machine. The machine's now working for her. And you're just kind of like, okay. Like, thanks for letting me know. And that they'll call back with updates later on. But I was just like, it was just so surreal. I felt like I was in a movie or on like a medical TV show. But that was our reality. That was our life.
And she was how old at this time again?
She was 2 months old.
2 months. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, surgery went well. It was about 6 hours long from start to finish. And then they brought her to the cardiac ICU and we got to go visit her. And as we were walking in to see her for the first time, I do remember the nurse saying, she's going to look very swollen. But because she was so sick, because she was retaining fluid at that point, but because she was so sick prior to that, she kind of just looked healthy to me because she was like plump, her like everything just looked. But at that moment, as we were walking in, she actually coded. And they rushed in and did life-saving measures for her. And I didn't even register that that's what had happened until about a year later. And I was like reading in the moment, it just felt like this was normal post-op care. Like the nurses and the doctors were so good just remaining calm. And I sometimes joke, I'm like, they hold the patient's hand, but they hold the parent's hand too.
Yes.
I just like, oh, this is just what they do, and I'm just gonna stand over here until like I'm able to go bedside with her.
Yeah.
And then reliving it, you're like, oh no, that was actually a lot more serious than I realized at the time.
Maybe it was good that you didn't at the time. Maybe it was almost like a protection for you. It was already traumatic enough to go through what you were.
Yes. No, go ahead, Jerry.
No, I was going to say they were amazing doctors and nurses over there at Boston Children's Hospital, and I always, you talk about you're in this panic mode, right, and concern, and here they are, calm as can be, and they have to be inside going, oh man, this is, but they just are so unbelievable, and like you said, holding the parents' hands, it chokes me up.
Yeah. They're amazing. No, we're very fortunate to live somewhere where we have exceptional care.
Yes.
There are other 22q babies around the country that don't have access to the same care and therapy that we have here.
Some of the best hospitals in the world are right here in Boston. We are so lucky to have them.
Yes.
Yeah. And Serafina is a frequent flyer, we call her, at Boston Children's Hospital because of the 22q syndrome. It affects all areas of the body. So she'll be a patient at Boston Children's for life. She sees a variety of different departments there. And she actually went back to the OR when she was 5 to repair her VPI, which basically the back of her throat wasn't functioning properly. So I actually noticed when she was about 18 months old that when she would drink, fluids would come out of her nose. And, that didn't happen with my older son. So I was like, we're going to watch this. And then small bits of food like rice or oatmeal, like those things started to come out of her nose. And I was like, something is definitely weird here. So I did what any good mom does. And I went and researched what would cause that. in relation to 22q, and discovered that VPI is very common. So I referred myself to ENT at Children's, and they looked at me a little weird when I walked in because she's 18 months old. She was still nonverbal at that point. She was actually nonverbal until she was 3. And so they're like, why do you have these concerns? And I had data and I had answers, and they were like, okay. And so they did a scope for her, which is they take a camera, they put it up her nose and down her throat to take some pictures. And you can imagine how hard that is to do on an 18-month-old. Serafina was not happy about it.
I'm sure.
But they were able to confirm that, yes, she does have VPI. And so we went back. They have to kind of wait until they can be scoped again for a long period of time, because they're scoped. And then there's different prompts that the kids have to go through and different sayings they have to verbally speak to see how it sounds and how the air is passing. And then once she did that, then she had her repair again at Boston Children's, which was phenomenal. The surgery itself and the recovery was really hard on her, especially at that point because she was 5. She was more aware of what was happening versus being 2 months old and having no idea and not really any memory of it. At 5, she knew. And so she was scared, which was hard as a mom. They wheeled her off in a stretcher at that point, and I could hear her crying for me the whole way down the hallway.
Oh.
It was and then she came out of the OR and, she was vomiting blood, which at that point they were like, hey, they must have seen the look on my face because I'm watching her and it was just so much blood that I was horrified. And one of the nurses was like, hey, this is actually normal.
Oof.
And I was like, okay,
Wow.
thank you, because in your head, you're like, worst case scenario, what is happening right now?
Right.
And I just Serafina is so strong. And I say this all the time that I will never be as strong as her. But I just remember at one point, she is literally about to throw up. And she's saying to me, I don't want to throw up. And then she just, as she's in the bowl throwing up, she just gives me a thumbs up. It's okay, Mom. I don't want to do this, but we're going to get through it. And we her little tiny frail boy with her thumbs up. I'm like, I could never. If I think I'm going to throw up, I'm already crying.
Of course. Yes.
Well, she gets her strength from her mom, definitely. Because to go through that, the issue when you had your son and then Serafina, it just incredible. That surgery you just talked about, she was 5?
5. Yep.
5 years old. Wow. And she's how old now?
She's 6.
6 now. Okay. So so how is she doing? Is she getting a better understanding? Is she how does she deal with,
She's doing amazing. She started kindergarten this past school year, which she loved. She still goes to the hospital twice a week for therapy. And like I mentioned, she was nonverbal until she was 3. And then she started speech therapy. And then once she had this surgery, her speech has taken off. But she is still, when we go to doctor's appointments, just get blood draws or they have to do imaging. She is very good and very self-aware, being like, hey, I'm scared. But I can do this. And she just kind of bosses up. We're boss up, Serafina. And she's like, yep, I'm going to go do this. And she does, she'll watch blood draws.
Yeah. She's she's stronger than I am. I have, because I'm older, so I go through more stuff, nothing like that. But the blood draw and stuff, I just look away while they do it. I even at 63, I'm like, I can't watch this. I don't have it's like they're going to be picking me up off the floor if I look at that. But you said she goes twice a week?
Yes, twice a week she does speech therapy and language therapy. So speech therapy is to target the sounds that VPI prevented her from being able to speak. And then language therapy is more for the understanding of it.
Okay.
I'm
Wow.
just going to pause for. I just have to grab my charger before my computer dies. And
Sure. Sure.
you guys, 1 second. I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry about it. We can edit.
I got the message. It was yelling at me that it was going to die.
Are we?
Perfect. There we go.
All right. So I'm going to have about 5 seconds of dead air here because that'll allow me to cut and splice. And Debbie's rejoined
Sure.
us. So welcome back.
Yeah, sorry, I froze up there, Sam.
No, we kept going,
okay.
not a problem.
Okay.
And then she just had to plug her computer in. So I'm going to
Okay,
pause for just a
good.
couple seconds here, and then we'll pick it up. So you were saying she goes she has to go to the hospital. Is it children that she goes for this twice a week?
Yes, and we go down to the Lexington location for the speech therapy.
Oh, so it's not, you're not in. Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you a little closer to home.
Yes.
You're not having to drive into Boston twice a week.
Right.
Oh, that's good because I that's not a good ride.
No.
Yeah, that's not a good ride. And so how is that coming along? How is she doing with all of that?
She's doing so well.
Yeah.
It's been so fun to watch her flourish in her speech. Because I've, as a mom and moms with toddlers, like you always understand, even when they're not speaking clearly. So to watch her, interact with other adults who don't spend so much time with her or kids at school or on the playground, and they're able to understand her and make those connections with her, it melts my heart because that's what I want for her. I want for her to be able to be independent and make friends and make connections. And when you can't speak to your peers, that kind of prevents that. So it's been really exciting to watch her just grow and grow.
That's great. And
Oh, I bet. How old?
kindergarten
sorry.
last year, and so first grade coming up this
Yep.
this September.
Yes,
That's awesome. And it's public school. I mean, a general population kind of thing. She's not in any
Yep.
special schools or. That's awesome.
Nope.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
That is that's wonderful. For those who don't know, can you tell the listeners what 22q11 is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Basically, it means that part of her 22nd chromosome on the Q leg of it is missing. And so how that affects each individual child varies. It's a giant spectrum. So there are more severe cases and there are more mild cases. And when we were kind of chatting with her team prior to having her, they said there are people that go through life with 22q and they never know they have it until they have a 22q baby.
Interesting.
And I actually have a heart anomaly. So at the time they were like, you must have 22q. Once, she's here, then you can have blood work done to see if you're a carrier of it, essentially. Because you can pass it on or it can also just develop randomly.
Wow.
But so we were like, oh, like I definitely am the carrier and this is why she has it. And then we actually found out that I don't. It was just a strange coincidence that I also happen to have a heart defect.
Oh, wow.
And so, it's just something that she kind of developed randomly. But it does. It can affect your learning. It can affect their, they are at higher risk for depression. They can have VPI, which is the throat thing I mentioned, heart defects. It can affect their immune system. So she would get sick very frequently. And even if it was just a common cold that like my 2-year-old at the time could fight off, like she wouldn't be able to.
Wow.
So she had to go in for extra vaccines to help with it was called Synagis, but it didn't prevent RSV. It just helped fight it essentially. Which now I think they have a vaccine for RSV, which is fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
But they didn't at that time. And that was weight based. So like sometimes it would be one vaccine, sometimes it would be 2 or 3 vials, depending on what she weighed at the time. But yeah, so learning disabilities, speech delays.
That's a lot. I mean, you probably had to do a lot of research. It's a lot as a mom already of a toddler, and then with a new child. Everything that you're saying everything with such like grace is the best word I can think of, and everything that you handled. But I'm sure, like how did you? What coping mechanisms did you use? Because you're a strong woman and you're being strong for your also very strong daughter. And I know you have a family. You had a lot of support there, but I imagine it must have been, quite challenging,
Yeah,
keeping all this
absolutely.
in.
I think in the early days, I just, I didn't have any I would just cry in the shower when the kids were asleep.
Mm.
It was
Yeah,
like,
of
we're gonna
course.
figure this out tomorrow. Obviously, that does not help you long term. And I ended up suffering with PPD, postpartum
Hmm.
depression, really badly, right when she was about 6 months old, which took me a little bit by surprise because when I thought about postpartum depression, I thought it was, in the beginning, very early, but I think I was on autopilot and like survival mode. We're gonna like, do surgery and we're gonna do these therapies, and that I didn't realize what was happening in my own body at the time
Right.
until she came out of surgery, was doing great. We had a little bit of downtime, and then it was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, can I have postpartum depression at 6 months? And then you learn that that's like the typical time when it pops up, and that's kind of how running came into play. So right after Serafina was almost three, doing math. No, almost one. Woo, getting ahead of myself. When I had my third baby, so I had my youngest son, and his pregnancy was also a whirlwind. He had issues of his own, and he was actually born 3 months early. So she was, he was born in October. She had just turned one that June, and I immediately was like, I had really bad postpartum with her because of all of the issues, and the high risk pregnancy, that I'm now doing it again. So I kind of knew, you're at a higher risk at this point.
Hmm.
What can I do to make sure that I'm good? Because now I have two sick babies and three children that I need to be present for. Um, and so I did a couch to 5K program, with no intentions. I was never a runner. I had no intentions of being a runner. But just to kind of get my body moving and get that anxiety and that nervous energy out so that I had a clear head to continue researching for Serafina and being able to advocate for her. Um, when I finished that 5K program, because I'm a little bit crazy, I was like, well, hey, I did a 5K. I could run a marathon.
From a 5K to a
uh,
marathon.
yeah,
That's incredible.
pretty much. Uh,
Amazing. You ran so Serafina was born in 2019, right?
yes, yep,
And then you you started running in 2021. Was that your
yes,
first Boston?
yep,
I'm not certainly anywhere near a runner. I can barely walk sometimes, but
sure.
um that seemed like an awful short time to go from not being a runner to running a marathon.
It
Uh,
was, it was. So when I decided, or when I got the idea that I could run a marathon, I said, if I'm going to do a marathon, I'm going to run for this hospital and fundraise because they gave me my children back,
right,
essentially.
right.
Serafina
Yeah.
would not be here without them. So this is a small thing that I can do. And I happened to see an advertisement or an ad on Facebook for the Miles for Miracles team. And I was like, okay. So it was April of 2020. No, of 2021. No, 2020. Um, just kidding. 2021. I'm confusing myself. It was like April of 2021.
Okay.
Sure, but a lot of things blur together.
Yeah,
when
there's a
I
lot
when
going
I
on
saw
too.
this
It's
ad.
amazing how you
Yeah.
remember anything.
And so I was like, okay, I'll apply. This gives me a year to train and get ready to run a marathon, right? Or so I thought.
Yes.
But because of of COVID the previous year, the marathon was just, shifted to October of 2021. But I didn't realize that until I had already been accepted onto the team.
Oh,
Oh,
And so,
wow.
I didn't mean to do it that quickly. I thought I had a year, and it was like, just kidding. Training starts tomorrow. Welcome to the team. I was like, well, and I kind of was just like, well, Serafina does it because she has no idea what's coming day to day. And when it hits, she's just like, let's go. And so I was like, well, let's go. We're running not, and we're running in October, I guess.
oh man. So
Wow.
2021, your first marathon. Can I ask how did you do? What it, it
I did, as far as I'm concerned, I did fantastic.
oh
My
just
goal. is always finish lines, not finish times.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
yes,
Um,
yes.
And
and so
you
it
ate,
was, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
you finished the first marathon.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was summer training, so it was hot weather, um, which like doesn't bother me. And so um, because of COVID, things were different for October, so there wasn't. It was a rolling start, so you kind of just got off the bus and off you went.
Mm.
Um, and the crowds were smaller. I ran with two other girls on my team, and we just kind of stayed together the whole time and just like motivated each other as we traveled the route. But when I crossed that finish line, obviously, like you're just overwhelmed, crying tears,
Oh, I'm sure.
and I thought
Yeah.
I was going to be one and done. But when I crossed that first time in October, I was like, oh, I need to see what Boston's about in April. Like, what's it like when it's full on and all the crowds are back? Like, I want to experience that.
Yeah, I don't
And
blame
so
you.
April of 2022, I ran again.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
October of 2021, and just what, 4 or 5 months later,
Yes, right back.
another
Yep.
marathon. In, in,
That's incredible.
incredible. And just so folks know, you have a number. You're not just running with, you actually are a registered runner with a
Yep.
number, and
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and you're running for Boston Children's Hospital,
Yep.
and under the banner of Strong for Serafina. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Love it.
yeah, it's wonderful. I want to hear more about that, but I want to uh, let people know that how they can contribute if they want to your cause, because you just can't slap on a number and run in this marathon, right? You have to, if I remember when we talked
Correct.
earlier, you need to raise so much money in order to be admitted as a legit runner, right? As a legitimate participant.
Yes.
So, and it's not a few dollars; it's a lot of money that you need to raise
Correct.
over a short period of time. So, can you tell us, folks, how can people out there that are listening in our 90 countries, how can they support you in the Strong for Serafina run for your marathons?
Sure. So Boston Children's actually sets you up with your own fundraising page and website. I have the address here. It's a little bit long, so I'll read it, but then I can also give you our team, like Serafina and I have a team where questions or concerns can come up, and I can always send the link that way as well. But if you go to http hyphen / secure.childrenshospital.org/go to/ and then it's the word 5, the number 4, and then Fifi, Fifi. So we call Serafina Fifi.
Okay.
And because it's our fifth marathon, this one's 5 for Fifi.
So
Or
listeners,
you can.
I'm just going to say,
Sure.
listeners, do not panic. We're going to repeat this a couple of times. We're also going to have it in the show notes, so you can just click on the link
Yes.
Perfect.
and
That's
and
easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
so don't worry about that long URL. We'll definitely have that for everybody.
Yeah.
They can click on, and they can send us emails as well, and if they need anything. Any more information, but I'm sorry I interrupted you. Continue.
Sure, that's okay. And I was just gonna say you can also just email us at strong the number 4 Serafina@gmail.com. And we have different fundraisers through the year. So we did the bowl-a-thon with you guys. We do a lot of chance to wins. We've got a giant raffle basket, and then we've got a fundraiser coming up on August 20th. So we celebrate Serafina's heartiversary every year, which is August 21st. Because for us, that's like her rebirth day, because that was the day,
Yes.
given a second chance at life. And so the night before, we're doing dinner at Main Street in Wakefield, and 20% of sales will be donated back to the hospital.
And when is that? One of my favorite restaurants in town. When is that event? That's
August 20th.
20th at
Yep,
Main
it's a
Street,
Wednesday night.
Main Street Grill. I will be
Oh.
there.
Yeah,
I
from
love
5
it.
to 8.
I will be there.
I
I'll
think
send
that's
you the
wonderful.
flyer.
Yes,
Did you
yes.
get
Send
the
us the
flyer?
flyer. Yeah.
Yes, definitely do that. And the folks that are in the area, great food, but for a great cause.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. I think we're recording a podcast that night, but I will be there early. And
Perfect. You
and
can dine in, take out, delivery, it all counts.
oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. And so is it a certain time? Is it like
Yes,
all day or I'm
between
sorry,
five
5 and 8.
5 and 8. Sorry.
Yeah.
five? No, that's okay. That's okay. We're cutting each other off. Between 5 and 8 at the Main Street Grill.
Yes.
I believe it's 1177 Main Street in Wakefield.
Yeah, look
We'll
at you
have that
go.
in the
Wow, very
we'll have
good.
the,
Yeah.
I've been going there for years. Our friends Jack and Lisa have been wonderful to me. And funny now, they were also bowlers. I don't know if they were in the
Oh my
same.
gosh.
Did they bowl with you or
Sure.
back when you were a kid? But
Probably.
yeah, they came up through the bowling program too, so that's how I know them. And they were another wonderful family. And they do all these wonderful this charity work. Allow charity to come in and they donate, like you said, 20% of the
Yeah, which is
the bills
huge.
to it. That is absolutely huge. You don't see that
Huge. No.
in any restaurant around here, anywhere that I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's
So,
it's very generous. I want to ask you about um all these fundraisers which are amazing, and I know we're going to put links and what have you. But the running that you were never a runner before. And so in
Correct.
addition to raising awareness and raising money, I think you kind of touched on this. The running, though, it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also something that helped you just with everything. Like, I'm sure when you're running that there's somewhat of a release, or talk to us about that as far as what it also
Yeah.
does for you personally running now, because it was something new. I mean, I know of you as a dancer, so I know
Yeah.
that you have that ability and everything to do that. But tell us about how also this has been helping you personally as far as the running goes.
Yeah. So I mean, running physically obviously helps a lot. It helped me get that nervous, anxious energy out. So, when we were going through everything, and even still sometimes now, when the kids are awake and we have our routine, like I'm too busy to really think about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to sleep and I'm up all night researching and worrying. And are we seeing the right doctors? Are we doing enough therapy? And so, in order to help kind of quiet my brain so that I could sleep and be more present in the morning, running has truly helped with that. And then also, when we do long runs on Saturdays, we meet as a team, we all run out together. But we're not allowed to wear headphones, so we can't listen to music
Mm-hmm.
or podcasts. There's no distractions. And I will tell you that if you have anything going on in your life and you're on a 15-mile run with nothing but your thoughts, you're going to process a lot of information. And so I kind of started going back like through those earlier days, all of the trauma, and kind of allowing myself in that moment to feel it emotionally while physically releasing the
Yeah.
energy. And it was so amazing. It helped me really process what was going on or what had happened. And things are going to still pop up. Serafina is a patient for life. We know she's going to need another heart procedure in the future,
Mm-hmm.
a matter of when, not if. And so to constantly be giving myself those tools to stay clear headed and stay focused and be present for them, and also being able to advocate for her, I don't think I would be able to do that without the physical release of running. And then that time where I'm just focused, I'm not worried about the kids or what's for dinner. Like they're taken care of while I'm out on those long runs. And so I can really focus on, hey, how am I processing this? Am I holding on
Yeah.
to it? Am I burying it down? Or am I able to let it go? And running
That's
helps me let it
therapeutic for
go.
sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yep.
what an amazing story. And I think it's important to tell folks that every dollar that you raise for Boston Children's Hospital does go for breakthrough research, right? Family support services, vital care, things not covered by insurance. Um, they have a program called Every Child Fund
Hmm.
at the Children's Hospital. It's amazing, and it's such an important cause. There's so many great causes out there, but this is super important. And folks, we'll have all of the links where you can donate to Samantha's cause. We'll have the link for Boston Children's Hospital out there, and everything you need to know if you have it in your heart to make a donation, no matter what the amount is. This is an incredible cause, and they do such wonderful work over at Boston Children's Hospital. That especially nowadays with funding the way it is and the economy sometimes the way it is, it's kind of hard to raise money, and you've done an incredible work over the years. Have you ever tallied up what you have raised over the last number of years doing this for Boston Children's? Can you share that with us?
Sure, right. Yeah, right now I'm sitting just below $40,000. My goal
Incredible.
for this marathon is 8,000. Would love to surpass that if possible. Because, and I tell everyone who's ever donated, Serafina is here with me because of donors like you. And we can provide that for children in the future. There are moms sitting bedside waiting for answers. The money we raise could possibly answer all of those questions and provide more treatment. So every single dollar matters. I carry every single donation and donor with me in my heart on every run. You're truly making a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's incredible. And there may be some folks listening that have a similar situation, or, have children who are ill, and have use the services of Boston Children's Hospital. I mean, you hear stories about them coming in from all over the world. Boston Children's. It's not just Boston kids or Massachusetts kids.
Right.
It's or United States. It's all over the world. It's an incredible organization. Wonderful staff over there, and this is fantastic. If you just could one more time again, we'll have the link in there. Let folks know how they can contribute to the cause, and
enter a marathon in New York, the New York City.
Yeah, are you raising funds for Children's Hospital in that marathon, or?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So
all goes towards the New York Marathon run.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
incredible. So let our listeners know once again how they can support you.
Sure. So the website is http //secure.childrenshospital.org/go/the word 5, the number 4, and Fifi. We call Serafina Fifi.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And again, folks, if you're driving and listening to this, please don't. Hopefully, you didn't write this down. But the links will be in the show notes for this episode. Now, this is your first New York, right? Is this your first New York?
Yep.
That's
first New York, 5th marathon.
Have you been to New York to check out the course yet, or are you just going to find out when you get there?
Not yet. I haven't even looked it up online. I know some runners have, but my theory is I'm not winning, so I'm just going to follow the crowd and hope that none of that gets turned.
There you go.
Take it all in.
There you go. Incredible. Debbie, any final questions for Samantha before we let her go?
No. I could always think of questions, but really, I'm just in awe of you and Serafina and all your children, and really, I'm really happy that you took the time to talk and to just, shed light on what you're doing and what Boston Children's Hospital did for you, and really, it's a beautiful and incredible story. So I just thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, for sure. And folks, again, please, if you can help out Samantha with her fundraising here, her cause, Strong for Serafina, would be greatly appreciated. The links are in the show description. If you have any issues with that, or you want to send an email for more information or the links, you can email us at itsanothersundaypodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's itsanothersundaypodcast@gmail.com, and we'll get the information right out to you. Samantha, so good to see you again, and thank you so much for taking the time and joining us for this extremely important and story and heartwarming. I can't wait to have you back to talk about the post marathon and how you did, and I'm sure everybody out there listening wants to know how you did, and like you said, it's not about time, it's about finishing. Or
Yeah, it's not about finish times, it's about finish lines.
There you
I
go.
love that.
I love it.
that. That should go on a shirt.
That's a great. That's a great line.
Yeah.
That's Samantha Gasbarro, everyone. What an awesome guest. Good luck. I don't know if you can say break a leg when it's a runner.
You can, I'll allow it.
You can, okay. Please don't. But no, and much success. And I can't wait to hear the story. When you're done with the marathon, you have to come back and tell us about it. And feel free to stop in the bowling alley some night and say hello and come on down and chat with us. So, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Samantha Gasbarro, everybody. All right. So this is Debbie and I'll have a quick again 30-45 second chat, and then we'll say goodbye and all that stuff, and then I will begin editing and doing all the fun stuff. So thank you so much. That was just awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you. On a podcast for your first podcast, you did awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did fantastic. And
yeah, it was great.
Follow you on Instagram and
very well spoken and just you did a great job.
An awesome job.
And I'll email you the link because it's forever long.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So pause for about 5 seconds of dead air. Debbie, what an incredible story. What an incredible, strong person Samantha is doing amazing work.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The word that kept coming to my mind was bravery, just to be brave, just to following through. And it's a lot to stay so hyper focused on your child's health and everything like that. And just everything that she's done to lead lead her children to the right care, and for Serafina, and then just hearing about her new path, as a runner and all that she's done to raise money. Really a wonderful story.
Absolutely. And I don't have any children of my own, but nieces and nephews, and thank God all healthy, and you don't realize that there are things like this that are out there, and how lucky people are. I know people enjoy doing whatever they do in their normal lives with very healthy children, and here's Samantha that has dealt with more than her share of issues here, and it's just the passion and she said her daughter is stronger than her, and she gets it from her. I mean, she's super strong. She's always been that way. Like I've known her for a number of years, and she's a wonderful person, and we wish her the best of luck.
Absolutely. I felt very there were a couple of moments there I had to hold back that I felt like I could break down in tears. So such a
Yeah, me too. I mean,
Yeah.
I was choking up. We had a bit of a technical issue before we actually recorded this. So we kind of heard the story, part of this story twice, and even the second time around, it was like, man, it's just so emotional. You and I, we do this podcast, and we have wonderful guests, right? And musicians and actors and comedians and all of the folks that have been on, and then the last two episodes have just been incredible with Valerie and being a stroke survivor, and now Samantha with her with Serafina, and it's just it's incredible. So folks, again, please click on the link, send us an email if you can't access that, and we'll send you information on how you can support Samantha and Serafina in her journey here. It's just it's such a great cause, and greatly appreciated if you would do that. So, with all of that said, Debbie, I think we're going to wrap it up here for this episode. We've got some interesting guests coming up.
Yes.
We're just trying to put them together, schedule them, and get them on here. And there's another incredible human story out there that I don't want to give it away or anything because we haven't yet been able to connect with the schedule. But it's amazing what people do for others,
Yes.
and I think I love spotlighting that and letting the world know
Me too.
that there's such just wonderful, wonderful people out there. So,
Yeah.
with all of that said, hopefully this heat wave will break, and we'll get into the back to the summer weather, and not the south summer weather, heat wave or whatever it is, right?
It's
But
just summer. I
yeah,
love it.
this is true. It could be worse, right? In a few months,
That's
we'll be
right.
talking about snow or something, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
you're
So
right.
let's just take it in.
Jerry,
Soak it
shut
up.
up and enjoy. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, good to see you, and
You
until
too.
next time, stay cool and keep smiling.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's Another Sunday podcast is produced by Debbie and sometimes Jerry. The music you hear in the background is composed by Tom Blaze. You can check out Tom's YouTube channel at Tom Blaze. That's going to do it for this episode of It's Another Sunday podcast. Our thanks to our special guest today, Samantha Gasbarro. Please click on the link if you have it in your heart and you have the ability to support the cause. Please do. And until next time, thanks for listening.